Fanjoy, and there we go. I'm Adam Fanjoy. I'm the umpire-in-chief for Guelph Minor Baseball. You can see some names of people who are here, some important faces that you need to know, some people that are going to be very important to it. We do have our diamond assigner on. Her name's Fiona. She is there. So Fiona is waving hi to all of us. So we're the main people that are going to be sending you emails that you're going to be connecting with throughout the year. So that's sort of the two faces that you need. There are other supervisors that you will see throughout the season that will come out and watch you umpire, provide you with some tips throughout the year as we go. So again, this year is going to be a little bit different than what it's been in the past because, well, we're still not sure what it's going to look like. We keep hearing from the government that things are going to open. Our plan right now is for games to begin on July 5th. And with that, we need to put the work in right now. So a lot of our level 1 and level 2 umpires who are brand new or in their first couple years with umpiring, you've already gone through and completed your modules from Baseball Ontario. If you have not completed those modules, make sure they are done this evening. So as soon as we get off here, please finish those modules because we need those done. You will also notice that all umpires across the province, the last check I heard, there were 4 who are active. So we've seen a huge downturn in umpires. And what this has to do with is there's some new requirements that umpires need to complete. So level 1s and 2s, you have your modules. Level 3s, 4s, and 5s, you had your super clinic that you had to attend. But there's also a list of documents that we need to complete. And depending on your age, and your involvement with baseball, it does change in terms of those documents. So we'll look at what those are as we go through. A lot of that is more for the level 3s, 4s, and 5s, the older umpires, to make sure that we have things going. So I want to walk you through some of the stuff here. I'm going to share my screen and, oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm getting there, hold on. Non-Zoom user. Share screen. There it is. All right. So here we go. So what we've got here is sort of a little presentation in terms of what we're going to talk about. It's basically my notes to help me walk through what we need to do. And this is sort of, this part is all about the Baseball Ontario information that we need. Okay. So our plan for tonight, we're going to talk about some of the main contacts. Already introduced you to Fiona and myself. Some of GMBA's season plans and what that's going to look like. Some of the highlights of the COVID protocols. Now, there are some things that have changed for those of you that were with us last year to this year. So we want to make sure we're pointing those out to you. What are our next steps? And then we'll have time for questions, okay? We will let level 1s and 2s go a little bit earlier because there is some parts that's specifically for the 3s, 4s, and 5s that we need to talk about afterwards. So we've got our contacts. There they are, sort of, there's our emails. uic@gmba.ca is how you get a hold of me. And schedule is Fiona, and you get it at scheduling@gmba.ca. Both of our emails are on the Guelph Minor Baseball website. You may also see mine as adam.fanjoy@gmba.ca. Feel free to use that. Some of the older umpires have got different emails for me. Feel free to use any one of them. They all get to me, so I've got about 12. So just make sure we're contacting for certain things. Okay? So our return to play. Our target date as of right now is July 5th. This includes both all our House League, Select, and Rep programs. Okay. This year, our House League program will be completed by Labor Day. For Select, we are looking at the possibility of having a team at 9U, a team at 11U, 2 teams at 13U, and a team at 15U. So these teams are going to be making their own schedule. So that's going to be the last one that's going to enter into our system. For our Rep program, again, starting July 5th, our 18U will sort of end in the middle of August, and the rest are looking at the first weekend in September. Sorry, there we go. When we're talking about our 19U teams, GMBA has 19 teams that are competing in the Rep level, and that's 8U through 18U, and each are playing somewhere in the range of 18 to 20 games. Okay. We will also have playoffs. Okay. So we're not sure what that playoff format is going to look like just yet, but that first week in September is going to be crazy. So be prepared to work lots of games. You'll also see that our numbers of umpires are way down this year. So if you are available, the chances of you working a bunch of games is going to be very, very high this year. So some of the return to sport guidelines, and these are right from OBA. So we're looking at social distancing as something that's become very common. Players, coaches, umpires are encouraged to remain a minimum of 2 meters apart. Okay, so one of the things that's changed is we can now have plate meetings this year. Last year we couldn't do plate meetings. This year we can. We're just going to make sure we are maintaining that 2 meters apart. Okay, the use of face masks. So this is when players and umpires need to wear face masks. Okay, so when off the field, including the bench area, obviously that does not apply to us. When holding runners on first base, so the first baseman must wear a face mask when they are holding a runner on at first base. So for some of the younger umpires, this won't apply because we don't have leadoffs. But at the older divisions, leadoffs are back in this year. And if the team chooses to hold that runner on, that first baseman will be required to wear a cloth-based face mask. And anybody performing first aid, and coaches must wear face masks whenever they are approaching another participant. So that would include us as umpires, but that would also include your base coaches. So the recommendation for coaches has been that if they are coaching on the base, they are wearing a mask while on the field. Okay. Also, players in the dugout. Yes, we will be using the dugout this year. So players are allowed to be in the dugout. They are encouraged to maintain that 2 meters of distance, but we are also required to use face masks while there. All right. Some of the other things there's no physical exchange of lineup cards. So similar to last year, we're not going to hold the copies of the lineup cards. We can look at them if we're making substitutions to make sure things are done properly, batting orders and all that stuff. We can look at them. We can ask to see them at any point. Okay. One of the things that's been removed this year is the use of baseballs. Anybody can touch a baseball. Okay. Sorry, that was kissing my son goodnight there. So anybody can touch a baseball. Last year we had the rule where it was only the defensive team who could touch baseballs. That has gone out the window. So anybody can touch baseballs, including umpires. So we can hold baseballs again this year. Okay. We maintain the no spitting, seeds, or gum, no handshakes, high fives, fist bumps. There's the leadoffs are now permitted. And that last one at the bottom there, my screen's a little blocked off. Hopefully you can see it. But umpires are allowed to go behind the catcher for this year. And that's a huge change from what we had last year. So as an umpire, it is your choice. 100% your choice based on your comfort level if you want to go behind the catcher. Okay. If not, you can position yourself in the deep P3, deep P4 position behind the pitcher, like we did last year. But you are allowed to, as an umpire, go behind the plate, work behind the catcher. If you choose to work behind the catcher, you must wear a cloth face mask or a medical face mask. You must wear a face mask other than our protective face mask while working behind the plate. Okay, so that is mandatory. There are no exemptions for that. The option is you can work behind the pitcher. But that is the umpire's choice. And I can't stress this enough because we are going to hear it from coaches if somebody chooses one night to go behind the catcher and the next night behind the pitcher. If somebody gives you a hard time about that, please let myself or Fiona know because that will not be tolerated. Okay, 100% it is the umpire's choice. Okay, so if somebody gives you a hard time, please, please, please let me know and I will deal with that. Rick, I see you got your hand up there. What do you got for us, Rick?
Just a quick question. Once you make a decision behind the plate or behind the mound, is that decision then good for the game? Or what if you're, for whatever reason, not comfortable at some point?
That's a tough one, Rick. I would say that you could change at any point. I think it would be hard to change mid-game, especially if you're going from behind the plate to behind the mound. Now, there could be a reason why that happens. Okay. Again, it is 100% your choice. I will support you what you're doing. But what I would suggest is pick one. and whatever it is, and if there's something that you're not quite comfortable about, don't do it. Stay behind the mound. That would
No,
be my
I'm
recommendation.
thinking I'm thinking the opposite way, where you start behind the mound and for whatever reason, you're just not having an easy time picking up break on pitches and you decide to then go behind the plate. Is once you make up your mind, are you set or
You can. I worry about the time constraint for putting on equipment and making that change.
okay?
Right, a lot of our games at the house league level are going to have time limits. So if we're delaying the game that way, that might make people upset. So I'd recommend once you make your decision, stick with it as best as possible. I was thinking more like you get injured or something like that, and you're maybe it's too hot. The mask that you brought gets a hole in it or something like that, and you want to switch to the bases. That's more what I was thinking, as opposed to going the other way. But again, it is your choice. So now comes the next steps, and I've glazed over a bunch of stuff because there is a whole bunch of things that we need to do as umpires. And this doesn't matter if you are a level 1 brand new umpire to our system, or if you are a 30-year vet. Well, I guess there's some of us who have more than 30 years. So it doesn't matter how many years you've been doing it. All of these things are our responsibility. So the first is make sure that you understand Baseball Ontario's return to sport protocols. So these are available on the Baseball Ontario website. They are also available in the On Deck app. So we need to take a look at those. I've provided some highlights for you on what they are, but there are some more details in there. And by all means, if you have any questions, please reach out to Fiona, reach out to myself. We can get you those answers. You also have to make sure that you are familiar with the self-screening process. So Baseball Ontario uses the standard Government of Ontario screening. Okay, so it is available. I will send this PowerPoint out to you. You can click on the links and that will take you right there, but it is the standard piece. What I will say is you should be doing that every time you leave the house for a game. Okay, to simplify it, but this is not the official answer, but to simplify it, if you are not feeling well, stay home. Contact Fiona, contact myself, stay home. Okay, so it is our duty to make sure that we are protecting ourselves and those around us. So now what do we have to do as umpires? So we need to, all of us, level 1 through level 5, complete the safe sport training module. It takes about 20 to 35 minutes online. Okay, so your registration is free, but you have to do it through coach.ca. Okay, so we are looking at the direct athlete contact option. Okay, it is an online module where you have to basically go through and complete sort of a couple activities. There's some information, some videos that you have to do. So all of us, we need to do that. Okay, you can do that tonight, would be fantastic. You also, all of us, need to complete Baseball Ontario's voluntary screening disclosure form. Now, this is something that's new this year, but it will need to be done every single year going forward. It is part of Baseball Ontario's new policy. Okay. We will also need to complete a police record check if required per Baseball Ontario's voluntary screening policy. What that basically means is if you are under 18, you do not need to worry about that. So for the majority of our umpires, you don't need to worry about that. For those of us over 18, I'm going to come back to this later on in this presentation. Okay, so we'll come back to that piece. So they talk about some of the risks that are involved for us as umpires. So this is not level of umpire, this is the level of risk that you have. Okay, so we can see umpires who are never alone with children or vulnerable individuals and only interact on the field of play in the duty to the game. That is 95% of our umpires. So we can see that what do we need to do? We need to complete that screening disclosure form. We need to complete the Safe Sport module through the Coach Association of Canada. So once you have done those two things, and you have completed your level 1 or level 2 modules, or you attended the super clinic, you are done. And your profile will switch to active on the Baseball Ontario website. Currently in Guelph, we have 0 umpires who are active. That's okay, right? A lot of this information that we're going to share tonight is new. And I see, Jack, you've raised your hand. Please go ahead.
I'm sorry, so just back to your previous slide, the volunteer screening disclosure form is, yes. Where do we find that one?
So this you can link right from this document, but it is on the Baseball Ontario, and I will show people how to get to that in a moment.
Okay, so will you
So it
be,
is on the Baseball Ontario website, but you can also link directly from this PowerPoint right here.
so, but will you be sending us this PowerPoint?
I'm going to share this with you, yes, after this. Yeah, it'll
Thank
be
you.
on, it'll share it, it'll be on the website, and we'll also walk you through how to get to it directly from the Baseball Ontario website.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Okay. So record checks, again, I'm going to come back to it, but this will become important information for those of us who need to do it. Some of the things that are awesome this year, we've really expanded Guelph Minor Baseball online. If you've been following us through our social media presence, we do have sort of an increased presence out there. We also started a YouTube channel. So if you do have things that you want to share, maybe pictures, stuff like that, please feel free to reach out to GMBA and share it that way. Okay, the fun part, questions. I know there's sort of a lot of information. Before I jump into questions, what I want to do is, as I continue to share this, I'm gonna go through the Baseball Ontario website so we can all sort of see. So we all should be familiar with the Baseball Ontario website as we go through it. What we're going to do is go to the Umpire section. So you can see it over here on the right. I'm gonna click on that. From here, we're going to go to development. Okay, and this is the important one, activating your umpire card for the 2021 season. Okay, so all that information that I just shared, it can be found on the Baseball Ontario website right here. So if we go into this, we can see what we need to do to activate our card for the 2021 season. Okay, so all umpires must attend a clinic. They must complete the Safe Sport training module. We only have to do this once. So once we do it this year, we are done. We have to complete the voluntary screening declaration. So umpires only are going to complete that. Okay, then we have the voluntary screening disclosure form. We still have to do this, but if we don't need that voluntary screening, it just literally is a checkbox and we're done. Okay, if we are level 3 risk, these two things, or if we're level 2 risk, so I will discuss those a little bit later. So all of this can be found on the Baseball Ontario under Umpires, Development, and Activating Your Umpire Card, or you can access those forms from the PowerPoint that we are going to share with you. And at the bottom, it's kind of neat. It does show sort of who is a level 1, 2, and 3 risk. So I'm going to stop sharing so I can come back and, oh, not that. I want to stop sharing. There we go. So I can see sort of the faces of those who have chosen. So that's sort of what we need. The problem is we've got 3 weeks. Okay, so those who have to do the voluntary screening, it takes up to 4 weeks to do. So we are in a little bit of a pickle here that we have to figure out a way to get to it really, really quickly. The rest of us, the level 1s and 2s, and those who are not sort of beyond the level 1 risk, we need to get on that as well. We need to complete those forms. We need to do that Safe Sport training so that we can get in and we can start working games. For our working games, how it works, and this is for the new umpires, okay? On the GMBA website, under the umpire login, you can go in and fill out what days you are available to work. Once you fill that out, and I suggest you get your availability, I'm going to turn it over to Fiona and she can talk about this in a second. Once you get your availability set up, Fiona can begin assigning games. Fiona will assign you a game. You can choose to accept or decline. Once you accept, that game is yours. You are expected to arrive at that game. Our expectation for Guelph Minor Baseball umpires are that you arrive 30 minutes before the start time of the game. Okay, that is an OBA expectation. That is a GMBA expectation. So your partner will be looking for you 30 minutes before the game. Okay, now, some of us, we have no control. Our moms and our dads drive us to these games. If you are having trouble getting to your game 30 minutes before, and it's because of your mom or dad having an issue driving you there, please let them speak to me. And I will talk to them about why we need to be there. But it's your job to try and be there 30 minutes before. Okay. If something comes up and you need to cancel a game, that's where you would reach back to Fiona and let her know. And Fiona will work to find a replacement for you. But for the most part, this is our job. Once we accept a game, that becomes our schedule. And so we need to be very careful and make sure that we are able to work the games that we have accepted. Fiona, do you want to touch base on that a little bit as well?
Sure. With the availability, it is very important for the younger ones to check with their parents or have the parents help them, because sometimes the parents have things planned and the children don't know about it. So there's one issue we've had, because I know some of the kids get very excited, they accept, and or they do their availability and they're like, yes, I'm open, and they're actually not. So then I have people, of course, suddenly getting hold of me going, oops, I can't do the game tonight. So when you cannot do a game, that is absolutely fine. I will find someone to do it, but it is so much easier if I do not have to do that. But stuff does happen, and that is absolutely fine. I will be able to sort it out. So just check with your mom and dad, make sure the availability is great. And I see a question has come up. Okay, I will explain that as well. Yes, that's my main concern, but email me, and some of you will have my text as well. Text me, try and give me as much time as I can to replace you. That's the other issue as well. If you can give me a day, 2 days, if you give me half an hour, I find that very tricky. Can be done, but it is tricky for me. How to put your availability in the system. So for the level 2s and 3s, you are probably already have your password set up. If you have forgotten your password, I can find it for you. For the level 1s, you will not. So you can just email me, and what happens is I have to go into the system, I have to check a box, so it will give you a temporary password, and then you can set up a password that you can remember. And then you have access to availability and everything after that. You'll have no access until you set up your password. Anything else, Adam?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and answer Jack's question a little bit more specifically.
Okay.
We do know your schedules. The rep schedules will be coming out to teams very, very shortly. So what you can do, which makes Fiona's life a little bit easier as well, is if you let her know that you are playing, or for some of her, if you are coaching on certain teams, then she can avoid those nights. So she'll already know that, but make sure your availability can constantly change, right? If something changes tomorrow, change it, just log back in and change it and change it and change it and keep that up to date. That is the most important piece, is to make sure that our availability is up to date so that we can be assigned games. So Owen, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question about the exactly how and where I can find those links that you told me that we need to do to activate our Umpire account.
So, okay, so I'll go back to the baseball. I'll do it one more time. And again, it will be in the file, but we will share this. So if we go to the Baseball Ontario website, which is right here, okay, I'm not on the home. That's interesting. Weird. Oh, because I'm in the umpire section already. So let me just fix this. Come on. Here we go. So the Baseball Ontario website, just baseballontario.com. On the right-hand side, we have umpires. So we select that option. In the middle, we have development. We select there. Activate your umpiring card for 2021 season, and it provides us with all these links. So we can click on the Safe Sport Training module, the voluntary screening direction. So we can go through all of the things that we need to do there. Okay. So again, that's Baseball Ontario. Umpires. In the middle, development. Activating your umpire card for the 2021 season to get to those things. You can also use the PowerPoint that will be sent to you, because there will be links in that. While I'm here, I will also sort of talk about the GMBA website to give you an idea there. So this is for availability, okay? So we can see this is our GMBA website. All of us is registered, right? So we had registered under the register tab, but this umpires tab right here, we can go to the umpires login. And here's the test for me if I remember what mine is. I have to forget it. So
Correct
that's what
answer
we're
to
doing.
that,
Once
Adam,
we
is
get
use a
in
password
there,
manager.
I'll have to reset my own password. It's frustrating. Okay, but we can go in and we can adjust our availability through that tab. I know that's poor form. I apologize for that, guys. Okay. Any other questions? Jack, is your hand up again, or is it still up?
Yeah, I have just one question.
Sure.
What type of pants or shoes do we need to wear? Because I'm new to umpiring.
Great question. The answer is, there's the official answer, and then there's the answer of it depends on what level you are and your involvement. As we begin level 1 umpires, we want to do the best that we can. So the official answer is black shoes and charcoal gray pants. At level 1, we want to get as close to that as possible. Now, the answer we always get is, well, I got baseball cleats. Can I wear those? Yes, absolutely. You can wear your baseball cleats. My baseball cleats are blue. Can I wear those? Yes, that's fine. Ideally, we want as much black as possible, right? And if you were a level 3 umpire, my answer would be black only. But at a level 1, as we begin, we understand that it may not be something that we're going to invest the time in. So get as close to black shoes, gray pants. Okay. In terms of equipment, we did hold an equipment pickup for our umpires on the weekend. We are going to set up another one for those who weren't able to make it. GMBA does provide our level 1 and level 2 umpires with a face mask, a chest protector, and shin guards. Available for purchase, we do have umpire kits, umpire shirts, and umpire jackets. So all that information is on the website under the umpires tab in terms of how much those cost, and we can set up something for you. You are also welcome to get them at another retailer. You do not have to buy them from us. We just make them available for some of our umpires. Question in the chat. For level 1s, you will be given a temporary password, and then you will make your own password after Fiona sends you sort of that initial account setup. So level 1s, level 2s, I know a lot of information just came at you. There's a bunch of stuff that can be a little bit overwhelming. Just know that the group of umpires in Guelph, we're here to support you. Right? Doesn't matter who we are, we've all been where you are as you begin, right? I still remember my first game. I remember my first ejection. I remember a lot of my first in my umpiring career, and they're not all good stories, right? This is a difficult job, but as a group, we support each other, and we're constantly here to work together to help make each other better. So if you have a question and you want to talk baseball, feel free to email me. Feel free to call me. I love talking baseball. I love talking umpiring about this happened, this happened, this happened. What could I have done? What should I have done? And you'll see the ladies and gentlemen who have been around for years, we do this all the time, right? We've got these stories that we can share constantly, and some of them are funny, some of them are sad, some of them are disappointing, frustrating. I mean, we can go on for days, right? So that's what makes this such a great job is there are people that I've known literally for 15 years. 20 years in the umpiring profession, right? So it's a great job. We're so lucky to have you guys here. Our numbers have gone down quite a bit, and COVID has a lot to do with that. So I'm so thankful for you guys for being here, for willing to step up this year, for being ready and able to work as much as you can, whenever you can around your own schedules, because there's a lot going on. I never want to put you in a position that you don't feel comfortable. So if you're not comfortable, let myself know. Let Fiona know. We'll find ways to make this work for you. Because unfortunately, there are some adults in baseball who don't always treat umpires the best. And that's an unfortunate reality, but it's something that we don't tolerate in Guelph Minor Baseball, right? So we are there to support you 100%. Whatever you need, please reach out and let us know. Okay? We want to make sure that you have a long career in umpiring. And get to see many of the great things that baseball has brought to so many of us. That's why a bunch of us keep coming back year after year. It's because baseball's been so good to us. Okay? So again, if you have any questions, please, 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 please reach out. Don't be afraid. Don't worry. I've heard all kinds of crazy questions. I could tell you some of the crazy ones that I've heard just this week alone as we set up for House League. It makes you feel amazing, some of the interesting pieces people have asked me. So don't be afraid, reach out, ask if you have any questions. I know I've put a lot of information on you, but please, I thank you so much. Reach out, ask those questions, get them answered. With that being said, if you are a level 1 and level 2 umpire, if you don't have a question right now, you are free to go. If you are a 1 or 2 umpire and you are over 18 years old, please hang out for a couple more minutes. If you are a 3, 4, or 5, please hang out. We got a couple more things we need to talk about. And I see there's a question that's popped up. Okay. Oh, thank you. You're welcome, Julian. So again, thank you for being here. If you have questions, please reach out and have a good night for those of you who are taking. All right.
I think you had a question from Greg, Adam.
A question from Greg. Oh,
When
what is the next pickup for equipment? Greg, we will send an email out. Fiona and I are going to coordinate that. It will probably be sometime this week. Thanks, Alex. All right. And now we've got the motley crew of umpires. So I recognize everybody with the exception of Brenda, Josh, and somebody who's joined us on the phone. You're more than welcome to. Yes, Fiona?
Do you need me now?
You can go, Fiona.
Okay, all I can say is Daniel's at work. Can you do whatever you need to do to get the info to him for me?
This is recorded. It'll be on the YouTube channel, so we'll send it out as well.
Wonderful. Okay, bye, guys.
All right. I'm going to stop recording because we can get a little personal.